Okay, I'm back, baby. After taking a little hiatus for making videos due to some personal stuff, I'm back at it and I'm coming in hot. So let's not drag this out. I'm gonna be making shoyu, otherwise known as soy sauce. So I was initially inspired to do this project by reading the Noma Guide to Fermentation, and they've got some really funky alternatives to traditional soy sauce that I'm gonna try in the future. So some of you may know that soy sauce is actually really simple in terms of the list of ingredients. We're talking soybeans, wheat, some koji spores, salt and water, and that's about it. So you might be asking yourself, how is this your biggest project ever? Well, I'm gonna make all of the equipment needed to pull this off myself. So to understand all the projects I have ahead of me, let's talk about how soy sauce is made. So it typically starts out with wheat berries that you toast and then crush, and then you inoculate those with a special fungus called Aspergillus oryzae, or as the Japanese call it, koji. Side note, koji is the base of like all the fermented Asian projects you know and love. We're talking sake and miso and soy sauce. Now to crush that wheat after we toast it, you could use something like a blade grinder in your coffee or spice grinder or like a food processor, but that's gonna actually chop and try to like turn it into flour. That's not what we want. We just wanna crush the husks and keep everything pretty intact, but give the koji spores some more surface area to really grab on and get at those sugars so that way it can have something to eat and thrive. So this is a really similar process to what all grain brewers do when they crush their malt in the beer making world. So malt crushers usually start about $80. Most of them are really in the $150 range, and I'm really gonna try to not spend that much. So I'm gonna make my own grain crusher from scratch. So traditionally koji on the wheat, that fungus, is started in cedar trays because the cedar helps absorb any extra moisture that might be in there. And it also has antimicrobial properties that really help it to keep out any unwanted fungus or yeast or bacteria or mold in the air. And it allows the fungus that I'm adding in to thrive. Koji's also started in very humid and hot rooms. So this is kind of a twofer for making things. I need to make a fermentation chamber that I can keep at a very specific humidity level and temperature level. And then I also need to make some cedar trays to put the koji in. If you don't make a cedar tray, you can use a standard baking pan and put a cloth towel in there. Many people make it that way, but I gotta make the trays, I'm extra. We know this. So once that koji is thriving and doing well, and it's been like 3 days and I have a lot of koji growth on top of that wheat, I'm gonna mix that up with softened soybeans, and then I'm gonna add water and salt to that mixture. At that point, it's what the Japanese call moromi. And traditionally, they would put that in a cedar barrel that was like 400 gallons and let that sit for like a year or two. Now, I don't have room for a 400-gallon cedar barrel, so I'm gonna make myself a smaller cedar barrel that will fit in my fermentation chamber in my house, and I'll make probably like a gallon of soy sauce at a time. So then that sauce gets stirred every day for a while, and then every week for a while, and you let it sit for about a year, and then when it's all done fermenting, after about a year and it's aged nicely, I'm going to take it and put it in some cloth towels and then use like a fruit or cider press or even a cheese press to help press all the liquid out of the paste and wheat that's left in the bottom. And then that sauce is what we're going to consume as soy sauce, but I'm gonna have to make my own press. And the good news is this press is gonna help me with other projects too. So I'm getting into cheese making, and so that'll be my cheese press as well. And it also helped me if I make ciders from apples or something like that. So I'm not making all this stuff just for soy sauce. Some of the stuff's gonna help me in other cooking projects as well. So for everything I'm making, I'm gonna release plans that'll tell you how to do it and how I did it and what I did. And you can learn from my mistakes and see if there's anything that resonates that might make it easier for you to make all these things. I'm not claiming to be the perfect soy sauce maker. I've never made it. And I'm not claiming that I know exactly how all these things should be made, but I don't necessarily have all the cash on hand to buy all this equipment outright without making it. Some of this stuff I'm gonna be using from scrap I already have in my shop and stuff like that. So if you're like me and you just don't want to spend the money, or you enjoy the projects, look out for those plans with each one of these videos. Now, since I'm gonna be making all of this equipment, I'm gonna be doling these videos out a little bit at a time to give me enough time to make all of these things and spread out my expenses as I get ready to gear up for soy sauce. So you'll probably see a few videos in a row here and there about soy sauce, and then a couple other ones that maybe aren't so involved, and then we'll go back to soy sauce. So you'll see these sprinkled in throughout the next month or two. I'm hoping to start my first batch of soy sauce in about 2 months. Thank you for joining me on this intro to soy sauce. I'm excited to begin this adventure of trying not to spend $10,000 making soy sauce and building all my own equipment. And so I hope you'll enjoy the series, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.